Alright, boys, another day, another cut content from AniNews. Today we have how Subaru and Emilia's moment went in the novels. Let's see how it did go in the novels, because in the anime I think it was very well done. It really showed how much this man Subaru loves Emilia, no matter how many flaws she has and how many mistakes she does. Subaru will love her no matter what. Let's see what was cut.
There were two very iconic events that happened this episode.
Yo.
The first was what's known as the Battle of the Lost Woods of Cromaldi.
Okay.
And the second was the emotional climax between Subaru and Emilia. While the latter was done rather faithfully, there was still quite a bit more to talk about regarding the factors that even led us here.
Okay.
It's missing context that helps us to understand why this scene felt like it was just two little children having an argument. Aside from that, quite a significant amount was also changed from the battle between Otto and Garfiel. They didn't include what the novel considered to be Otto's ultimate attack. So that's what we'll look at first.
Alright.
But before we get into that, I just wanted to let you guys know that
Bookwalker?
my partners over
Yeah.
at Bookwalker are having another sale.
Let's
Up until
go.
January
Little-
24th. So be sure to
Alright.
use the link in the description to check that out. Now, let's talk about ReZero. Episode 40, The Reason to Believe, covering chapters 4 to 6 of volume 13 of the light novel. Let's start things off with when Garfiel went to go check up on Shima.
Okay.
In case you didn't notice, it was the appearance of a second teacup that made Garfiel start to worry.
Okay. Already that's already something I didn't know. That I was like, why did he just instantly get sus as soon as I thought it was just because Shima was not there, but there's a second cup, okay.
It meant that someone other than him had gone to see her.
Yeah.
Now, one thing to note here is that Garfiel didn't yet know that Emilia was missing. He only found that out as he was running around searching for Shima. You see, he just so happened to bump into Subaru, Ram, and Otto as they were also mid-search for Emilia. So it was here that Subaru told Garfiel that she was missing. Initially, Garfiel believed this to be some type of ruse, but after seeing how shaken Subaru was by the fact of it, he decided to trust that there weren't any ulterior motives.
Interesting.
The funny thing is that this actually was a blunder on Subaru's part. Emilia wasn't supposed to have run away like this.
Yeah.
She just happened to wake up when Subaru went to go switch positions with Ram. Or
So that's why he wasn't there specifically. It was just the worst timing of all time. Oh my god.
Emilia wasn't supposed to have run away like this. She just happened to wake up when Subaru went to go switch positions with Ram.
Damn.
Or so he says anyway. In any case, given that both Shima and Emilia were now missing, that made this situation all the more of an emergency. It forced Garfiel to have to use his authority. So he decided he was going to use the clones to find Shima first, then Emilia.
Okay.
That said, he could have always just sent Shima a mental order, a command that would have forced her to come to his side.
That's true.
It was certainly the easiest way of resolving the problem, but that was something that went against his moral code.
Oh, so it's just because against the moral code? Okay. Damn, it would have been that easy. Yeah.
Because Shima and the other three were like his grandmother, Garfiel vowed to never use his authority on them. Instead, he used the clones as a means to deduce their location. When the clones reported that they hadn't spotted Shima at all, it meant by implication that she could only be where a replica was not. So that meant she was at the hidden replication facility, a building where no clone was stationed and Garfiel himself only ever went to once a year.
Damn.
The purpose of which was only to pick up any new replica that had been made. Now, when Garfiel saw that the only person there was Otto, he began regretting not taking care of Subaru from the beginning. You see, ever since he first laid his eyes on Subaru, Garfiel knew that he couldn't stand him. Just the way his expression always looked as if he was staring off into some place far away reminded him far too much of the person he hated the most. So Garfiel couldn't help but lament over not taking care of Subaru earlier. If he had, then none of this would have happened. But anyway, the reason Otto was even able to get to the jump on Garfiel was because he had combined water and wind magic together to emulate the sound of footsteps. This forced Garfiel to react to them, allowing Otto to approach from behind and discreetly steal the crystal. It was the first of many tricks that Otto had prepared for this.
I think what I love about Otto is that he has so many tricks up his sleeve. He has these tricks up his sleeve because obviously he may not have some crazy fighting power or ability, but he still got soft language. And he can make anything else work, with the whole trick, just pretty much tricks and all that shit that he has up his sleeve. We saw that, the little hole that Garfield fell in, and with all the bugs, which Like, come on now, let him
But
cook.
Garfiel wasn't just going to let Otto do as he pleased. And
No.
he certainly wasn't going to be held back from getting to Subaru. When he learned that Subaru was on his way to meet Emilia, there was a certain combination of empathy and instincts that made him want to prevent that meeting.
Okay.
His instincts told him that something bad would happen, and he felt a sense of pity towards the girl that was being forced to face the same cruel experience that he once did. Having already faced the trial before, Garfiel knew all too well just how brutal it could be, so he couldn't help but feel a little bit sympathetic. Don't get me wrong though, his intentions were never to get in the way of Subaru and Emilia's mutual attraction. He just felt the need to save Emilia from her past, something he knew he wouldn't be able to do if Subaru got the chance to talk to her. So the first thing that came to mind was to use the clones to find where Emilia was. Of course, Garfiel still wanted to locate Shima. It's just that stopping Subaru was now the #1 priority.
The #1 priority,
As he reached for his crystal to give the orders, it was in that moment that he realized it was gone.
Okay.
Normally, this wouldn't have been very much of a big deal. I mean, they're not exactly a very rare material. In fact, they're actually nothing more than fragments that come from the giant crystal that seals the original Ryuzu.
Oh!
So all
well
Garfiel really needed to do to get another one was simply go back to the source and break a new piece off. It would have allowed him to give commands as if everything were normal.
Okay.
The reason he didn't, though, is because that fragment in particular was very special. It was part of a memory that he couldn't afford to lose.
Dang.
One that was very important to him and one other person.
Yeah.
So, in order to get it back, Garfiel rushed back to the facility in search of Otto. But Otto had already taken the opportunity to run away. It led Garfiel to realize that this was all part of Otto's plans. He knew now that he was just being toyed with, and he knew that he needed to be more cautious now.
Oh shit!
Unlike how he lived his life by relying on strength, Garfiel understood that Subaru and Otto were completely different. They lived their lives by relying on their words and schemes.
Yeah, words and schemes, no powers. Oh my god. Yo, Otto's such a W, man.
A trait that Garfiel couldn't help but admire. It was still very annoying for him to fight against, though. The fact that there was no telling what Otto's next trap could be made it so that Garfiel couldn't let his guard down even for a second.
Yeah.
As soon as he tracked him back down in the forest, he began to pay attention not only to Otto's actions, but also his gestures and words. For the first time ever, Garfiel was actually regarding Otto as a factor. He was no longer the third-rate bystander he always made him out to be.
Yeah, from third rate to absolute Chad. Yo, facts though. Come on now.
Was actually regarding Otto as a factor. He was no longer the third-rate bystander he always made him out to be.
Yep.
That said, it was that razor-sharp focus on Otto and nothing else that caused Garfiel to divert his attention away from his surroundings, resulting in him falling into the pit trap like how we saw in the anime.
Yeah.
This was all part of Otto's predictions. He knew he could use Garfiel's own naive judgment against him. Because Garfiel never once considered him a threat, Otto was able to use that blatant disregard to deceive him, then immediately used the shock of proving otherwise to trap him. It's a moment that marks the beginning of the Battle of the Lost Woods of Cromaldi.
So that's the actual name of it. Battle of the Lost Woods of Cromaldi. Okay.
Before we continue with that though, there are a couple things that need to be said about Otto's past.
Okay.
The first is that the note he gave said thank you for everything.
Oh yeah, cause okay, in the reaction, I don't know if I mentioned it. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Y'all know? Yeah, no, I didn't. I don't think I mentioned it. I was gonna ask y'all like, yo, what did that say? Do y'all know what it said? So it says thank you for everything. That's why they broke down in tears. That's so sad.
He didn't yet fully understand the emotion of gratitude, but he did acknowledge that his family treated him in a way that he thought he should be grateful for.
Aww.
So it was after this that Otto truly began to experience life like a human being. After he was chased out of town by the noble who hired an assassin to kill him, Otto spent the next 4 years doing fairly well as a merchant. But one wrong read of the trends of the market left him in a dire situation. If he couldn't turn his business back around soon, then he would have been forced to return back home. An outcome he felt he needed to avoid at all costs. Not because he didn't like his family, but instead because he didn't want to cause them any trouble anymore.
Damn.
So when offered a lucrative deal that could fix his financial troubles, Otto jumped at the opportunity without giving it so much of a second thought, resulting in him getting captured by the witch's cult and eventually being saved by Ricardo.
Yep.
As a merchant who always repaid his debts, this meant that he now had 2 more to add to his list. One to Ricardo for having been the person who rescued him, and another to the boy general who was in charge of the operation.
The boy general?
One of which he was paying back right here in the Lost Woods of Cromaldi.
Hell yeah, Otto!
In the moment that Otto stopped running, he began to contemplate why he was going so far to help Subaru. He didn't find himself to be so sincere that he would put his life at stake with nothing in return. Yet here he was doing exactly that. As thoughts of Subaru began to fill his head, Otto quickly came to realize why he was doing so much for him. He finally understood that Subaru wasn't very much different from how he once was. They'd both gone through suffering that neither were ever able to convey to anyone. It was a path of loneliness that eventually spiraled into despair.
Damn.
So, the Subaru that Otto was helping right now was pretty much the kindred spirit to the Otto of the past.
That's so cool, man. Like, so, yeah, it's because they're friends, but it's also deeper than that. The fact that Otto sees his younger self in Subaru the way that he was, that's also that's a reason that he's able to kind of just like sympathize and, you know, kind of relate to Subaru. That is so wow.
To him, helping Subaru here was the same thing as helping himself.
Wow.
To him, he believed he was saving both Subaru Natsuki and Otto Suin. That's why he was able to go so far. Now, when Garfiel had finally caught up to him, Otto was immediately knocked to the ground by a blunt attack.
Yep.
It gave Garfiel the chance to restrain him by putting his foot on his stomach. He then slowly increased the pressure of that foot while demanding for his crystal back. As Otto began to froth at the mouth from the pain of it, he couldn't help but laugh at Garfiel's change in attitude. You see, the fact that Otto was able to prove that he could do things that Garfiel believed he couldn't, brought forth this feeling of satisfaction that he'd never felt before. It was something he'd only ever heard about from Subaru. But now that he'd experienced it himself, he fully understood why Subaru found it so amusing. So, as he laughed, Garfiel did find it to be a little bit creepy. But he wasn't so hostile as to not put up with it. The fact that he was even willing to listen showed that Garfiel now respected Otto as an opponent. That said,
The respect.
this too was something that Otto had planned for. He knew that Garfiel's acknowledgement of him as a warrior would allow for one last opportunity of attack.
Bro, this man planned it all out. It's all part of his fucking plan. And fucking Otto. Let me calm down. This man Otto is the absolute GOAT, bro. The MVP, bro. Actual fucking MVP player, man. Did I just say MVP player? Most valuable player? You know what? Ignore that. I didn't say that. The MVP. Let's go, Otto.
So what Otto did was he requested to say one last thing before giving up for good. It was out of pure respect for Otto's recent display of strength that Garfiel decided to let him back up and say what he wanted to say.
Okay.
As a person who could speak to the creatures of the forest, Otto told Garfiel that he had angered them.
Oh.
And he said it was for that reason that he needed to be punished. The moment he finished talking, a massive accumulation of mana could be seen forming around him. This was a pretty big deal because normally mana wasn't visible to the naked eye. It's only when they're gathered together in clumps on rare occasions like these that they start to display such a bright luminance. So this was a display of magic far beyond what Otto was capable of. It was clear that he was simply the medium in which it was being formed. The source was the numerous creatures he'd spent the day talking to. Every resident of the forest was now pooling their mana together to create this one final attack.
That's so cool. It's like a spirit bomb, bro. What?
It was the amalgamation of every resource Otto had. This was all his tools used together to create the ultimate weapon, Aldona. A massive burst of AoE earth magic that uprooted pretty much every bit of forest surrounding him. It created a riptide of rock, dirt, and sediment strong enough to destroy the trees around him.
Oh my god.
All of which then made a direct impact with Garfiel. This was the culmination of Otto's plans. Everything he'd been doing had been leading up to this final moment.
Let's fucking go.
But even that wasn't enough to stop his target. By the time everything had settled, Garfiel could be seen clawing his way out from under the dirt, very much intact as the attack was nothing more than a minor inconvenience. You see, the key mistake Otto made was deciding to use earth magic against a person who had the blessing of the earth element.
Oh, wow. That's just like Pokemon types. Oh, damn. That's, yeah, okay.
So, Aldona wasn't exactly the best choice for a trump card.
Damn.
Now, despite having been blindsided numerous times, Garfiel did respect Otto's efforts. He went up to him after the fight and asked him to forgive him.
Wow.
He knew now that it was wrong to have doubted his conviction, and for that he was sorry. It was after this that we saw Ram get involved, most of which was pretty much the same. But to give context as to why Ram couldn't fight for any longer than she did, Well, that's because she had awakened her demon blood, an enhanced physical state that she can't maintain for very long without her horn. So, when that limit was up, Rain only had a little more left in her to continue fighting.
That makes sense why the blood, God, bro, that shit fucking scared me. That shit came out of nowhere in the fucking in the reaction, bro. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? At first I thought it was like Garfiel who like got like a sneaky hit, but then it just like, no, it just makes so much more sense that it wasn't that, and it was more of like because of not having the horn. Yeah.
She wasn't able to use her physical enhancement, but she was able to get one last attack in. She jumped straight towards the massive beast that was charging her and drove her knee straight into his torso. But unlike how she was able to send him flying before, the lack of any physical enhancement resulted in her bouncing off like a ragdoll, damaging her kneecap much to the point that she couldn't even support herself anymore. That's when Otto had to step in and save her.
Okay.
So that was the Battle of the Lost Woods of Grimaldi. But while all that was going on, Subaru was still trying to find Emilia. Remember, Emilia running away wasn't exactly part of their plans. Subaru had every intention of having his conversation with Garfiel and Shima at the facility. His plans just became completely sidetracked because of Emilia's disappearance. In any case, we know that Subaru had gone to the tomb, but you're probably wondering how he was able to make it inside. As someone who wasn't qualified to take the trial anymore, he should have been inflicted with severe internal damage. Well, that's actually what happened.
Wow.
Although we don't see it in the anime. Subaru forced himself into the tomb all while taking whatever punishment came with it.
Y'all mentioned that he pretty much just started tanking damage all for fucking Emilia, dude. This guy is something else, bro. Holy shit.
At first, the sensation of his innards being wrung were absolutely unbearable. But eventually he did become accustomed to it. With sheer willpower alone, Subaru ignored the pain and continued to push himself forward.
My God.
Slowly taking it one step at a time until finally coming across the person he was looking for. The reason he was even able to do this was because the damage done by the tomb's punishment scaled directly with the size of the person's gate. So the bigger their gate was, the more effective the tomb's punishment would be. That's why Roswaal was inflicted with so much more damage than Subaru.
Okay, that's a detail I was waiting for, because it's like, why was he not that fucked up? Because obviously Roswaal got fucking destroyed. So why was Subaru just had like a little bit of damage? Wasn't that crazy? Okay.
The reason he was even able to do this was because the damage done by the tomb's punishment scaled directly with the size of the person's
size of the person's
So the bigger their gate was, the more effective the tomb's punishment would be. That's why Roswaal was inflicted with so much more damage than Subaru. The beginning moments of their conversation was Emilia letting out all her insecurities. The fact that Subaru never got angry or even disappointed was an unnatural level of kindness that slowly built layer upon layer of anxiety within her. Every time she betrayed his expectations, she believed that that would have been the time that Subaru would scold her. But never once did that time actually come. Not from him, and certainly not from Puck either.
Yeah.
Eventually the failures just continued to stack. And Subaru was there every single time to console her. Although it would work to make her feel better in the moment, it would also add yet another layer of anxiety, leaving a feeling that would last far longer than any bit of comfort he provided. It got to the point that she was starting to become frightened by it.
Jeez.
So the only thing she felt she could do was run away. When Emilia went on to mention how Subaru broke his promise, he could have listed out all the reasons why he did. But he knew that those were just shallow responses that wouldn't have made the situation any better.
That makes sense.
Instead, Subaru could only watch and listen as she talked about the importance of keeping a promise. Remember, spirit mages found promises to be one of the most important things in the world.
Most important thing.
Unfortunately, Subaru couldn't think the same. To him, promise was a word that meant something completely different.
Yep. It's a completely different thing for Subaru. That's why, like, he's broken a lot of promises. And it seems like, bro, every time fucking Subaru breaks a promise, bro, it's like the worst thing ever, dude. Like, the level of a promise in this fucking world is fucking insane, bro.
It was a conflict of beliefs in which one side could only take them lightly and the other was bound by their crippling weight.
Yeah.
Even so, Subaru still should have known how important they were to her. I mean, it was only a few days ago that she had gone to lecture him about how much she valued them.
That's true. That's actually a very good point. Subaru should have kept that in mind, because Emilia has mentioned this a lot of times before.
So for him to break this promise even after being directly told by her not to, well, that was something that she simply couldn't forgive this time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was after this that she said a line that alludes as to why she finds them so important in the first place. Something about how if she only kept her own promises, then something wouldn't have happened to her mother and Goose.
Hold up a second. You have to keep your promises. I mean, if you don't, if I only kept mine, Mother, I think it's not Munder, I think it's Mother, and Juice wouldn't have. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Juice mentioned by Backle? Am I tweaking? Could be misremembering. Yo, help me out here. Juice was mentioned before, right? Juice was mentioned before. Okay, is it Petogis? No, there's no way. Is it Petogis? No shot it's Petogis. Is someone like Petogis? A relative of Petogis? No, I'll fucking lose my shit if it's a relative of Petogis. Not Petogis, geese. I swear, Juice, I swear that's been mentioned like multiple times already. Like Bayako, I think mentioned it too. I could be tripping, but I think Bayako also mentioned that. Who the fuck is this?
It's an interesting mention of a character that only one other person has ever talked about before.
I wasn't tweaking. I wasn't tripping. Okay, Juice. That's the only thing I can think of. Like a relative, or is it just Petogis? No way it's just Petogis. I don't think it's just Petogis. That would make zero fucking sense. Huh.
With all that said, Subaru was at a loss with how to respond.
Okay.
He wasn't sure whether he should apologize, console her, or even act as if he understood her. None of those seemed like they were the correct approach.
Nah.
What he did know, though, was that he needed to respond in a way that best conveyed how he felt. A way that had the best chance of reaching her heart. So, it was here that he gave a confession that fit neither the time nor the place, following it up with a string of scolding remarks that went to hurt Emilia's heart more than ever before. They were words that were guiding her to the conclusion that she was hopeless.
Crazy, because I don't even know. I don't think it was like this in the anime. I think the anime, I don't know if the translations were different, or maybe it was word for word in the anime. It's just like the translations are different, but the past isn't something to squirm about forever. The result was that you failed after running your mouth, wasn't it? Oh my god. You can't even walk properly by yourself. I can't watch you like this. Yeah, I think of the translations were a little different. Yeah, this is a little more aggressive, right? A little more intense.
Her to the conclusion that she was hopeless.
Oof.
Right as they were both about to reach that same verdict, Subaru stopped in his tracks just so that he could make his confession one more time.
Wow.
Stealing the moment right before Emilia could accept that she was hopeless. It's a scene that was pretty much taken word for word from the novels, but there were a couple cut lines where Subaru may have taken a bit of inspiration from Rem.
Jesus Christ. Rem inspiration. Thanks, Rem. You know, for the backup. You know, helping us game with Emilia. Jesus Christ, man. So that's another thing about Rem, bro. She's just benched right now. Are we ever gonna see Rem again? No, we definitely will. It's just crazy, like the character development and the development. There's like development in general, right? Development in general that we got from Rem. The amazing character that we got from her. The way that she saved Subaru, everything she did for Subaru, and we just don't see her again. Like, I don't know. Like, she got cooked. She got benched in season 2. Literally the start of season 2. But at the same time, I could kind of get it. They kind of had to do this for just plot, bro. They need to develop Emilia more. They need to focus more on Emilia and give more of a reason for why Subaru's actually in love with her and why he actually wants to save her and wants to be with her. So they probably just, you know, the author was just like, all right, we gotta focus on Emilia, all right? We gotta actually give her development and, you know, more story, you know, more backstory, all right? Rem, I'm sorry, we gotta bench you. We gotta put you on the side. That's what I think, but I think it was needed. I think it was very needed because then again, Rem is never winning either. Like, you know, he's the second in Subaru's heart. Rem is never gonna win anyway. So I mean, it's not like it fucking matters, but you know, they kind of just had to bench her.
Stuff like how no matter how much she hated herself, he would never come to hate her.
Ooh.
And even if everyone abandoned her and despised her existence, he would still stay by her side and keep pushing her forward.
Wow, even if you hate yourself for your own shortcomings, even if you worry that the people around you can't help but hate you, I'll keep expecting things from you, and I'll never use your weakness as a reason to hate you or even abandon you. Never. Oh my god.
It was because Subaru understood exactly how Emilia felt that he was able to say the very same words that once saved him.
Damn.
As their conversation continued, It escalated into the heated argument that amounted into both trying to say that the other was wrong. Subaru was desperately trying to tell Emilia how he truly felt, but he was trying so hard that even he could tell that his words were coming off as cheap and empty.
Yeah.
Even if Emilia herself wasn't able to tell. There was no doubt that these were Subaru's true feelings. And this was his once-in-a-lifetime confession in which he was putting every part of his body and soul into.
Let's go,
A confession that Emilia refused to accept. Eventually, both became so emotional that their argument devolved into a back and forth without any logic whatsoever. It was like two little kids throwing a temper tantrum just saying whatever came to their mind.
Yeah.
Subaru was trying to blame Emilia for him being so caught up with her. And Emilia was trying to blame Subaru for making things harder for her. She was trying to say how she didn't have time to think about Subaru the way he thought about her. So both went on and on about how they thought the other was making things worse for them. It just went to show how far their conversation had fallen. After a bit more back and forth, Emilia finally got to the point of asking why. She'd been watching Subaru break his promises ever since they got to Sanctuary. So this constant disregard for the very thing she found so important made her so overcome by anger that she couldn't even voice any other opinion now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it honestly makes sense why she acted like this. Like, the level that she holds the promises, right? Literally all the way up here, bro. Like, most important thing is a promise for her, right? And the fact that Subaru just keeps breaking it and breaking it and breaking it, it's like, dude, like, you keep breaking these promises, man. Like,
the only thing she wanted to know was why he kept breaking his promises.
Yeah.
It made it so that their conversation was now pretty much an extension of the argument they were having back at the Capitol.
Oh my
the focus
God.
of which was Subaru breaking his promises and not being able to tell her why.
Don't even get me started on this. Let's not go back to episode 13, bro.
So Emilia was now in the exact same position she was in back then.
Yeah.
The only difference this time is that she decided not to berate Subaru. Instead, she decided to talk about herself. She felt that her missing memories made her develop into who she wasn't supposed to be. She felt that the person who she was right now was wrong.
She felt that the person that... Say that again, bro? Say that again, because I look.
This time is that she decided not to berate Subaru. Instead, she decided to talk about herself. She felt that her missing memories made her develop into who she wasn't supposed to be. She felt that the person who she was right now was wrong.
Yeah.
If nature dictated that the memories accumulated over the course of one's life determined who they were, then that would mean that Emilia's false starting point made her become who she wasn't meant to be.
Damn.
It would mean that the path she was meant to walk and the destination she was meant to go to were completely wrong. When Subaru heard her say this, he began to remember the advice from his mother, making him realize that the starting point and journey didn't matter.
W mom.
What was right and what was wrong was left solely to the discretion of the individual. Everything else just didn't matter. As Subaru tried to convey this message, Emilia still continued to refute it. She wouldn't allow herself to accept Subaru's words anymore. So Subaru had to resort to the only option he had left, an action that would convey his feelings when nothing else could. As we saw, the end result was a kiss completely opposite to the one he'd experienced the loop before.
Yeah, very different.
Unlike the cold taste of death, this one carried nothing but life. It carried
instead of the fucking the kiss of death, it's the kiss of fucking life, bro. Still can't get over that kiss that they had. Fucking Emilia fully insane, dude. That shit was crazy.
The one he'd experienced the loop before. Unlike the cold taste of death, this one carried nothing but life. It carried a feeling that would serve as the foundation to build their relationship anew, leading to the emotional climax in which Subaru helped Emilia to find a reason to believe. But anyway, that's pretty much it for episode 40. So I hope I was able to add a bit more to the story and make it a bit more enjoyable for you.
Yeah.
If I did, then you may be interested in checking out last week's video. It has a lot more cutscenes in it than this one does. So it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it already. Now,
that should be it.
Digital to support pretty much all I gotta say.
All right. Thank you so much, AniNews. Of course, once again, thank you so much for coming in clutch with the cut content. You are the GOAT, man. Another W cut content from AniNews. That's going to be it for today's cut content of Season 2, Episode 15. If you enjoyed it, you're new, subscribe, leave a like down below. The full uncut version to all ReZero content will be on the Patreon. As always, have a good day. and I'll see you guys next time. See you guys.